I have a simple question. Does the Danish player have an unfair attacking advantage ahead of the last German defender? If your answer is yes, you're a drug addict. By the letter of the law, this is offside. So I'm not saying that this was the wrong call. This was the right call. So based off of the law, this was the right call. So what is the spirit of the law? To not gain an unfair attacking advantage. That is the whole idea of offside, and that is the spirit of the law. That the last attacker doesn't have an unfair advantage over the last defender. I have a simple question. Does the Danish player have an unfair attacking advantage ahead of the last German defender? If your answer is yes, you're a drug addict and you're a psychopath. Initially, I was like, okay, let's roll with this. So my initial thing was how I grew up. So how I grew up, when I started watching football back in the 90s, this was obviously before VAR, they told the linesman, and this was easy to do to the human eye, if you can see daylight between the last man, so if you can see daylight between the last defender and the last attacker, that is offside. Initially, I was like, okay, you know what? This is wild. So you know what I said? I was like, okay. Because initially I said, okay, what if we bring in like robots? And we say, okay, if 60 or 70% of your body is ahead, do you have technology or tech that can tell if 70% of someone's body is ahead of someone else, but then you have different body sizes, different mass sizes, and how complicated could that be? So okay. So okay, how can we do this? So I said, okay, what do we play football with? We play football with our feet. So I said, okay, screw your arms, hands, and everything. You kick the football with your feet. You run with your feet. Forget every other aspect of someone's body. Forget the head, the shoulder, everything. Focus on the feet, because that is what you use to run. That's what you use to get an advantage. What you use to get an advantage is your feet. And what you use to score is your feet. Focus on the feet. So, in the diagram above, he's offside. So I said, if your entire foot is ahead of the last defender, that is offside. So this was in the World Cup. And I think that might have been Lautaro. That should not be offside. Because my argument is, how does his shoulder being ahead give him an unfair advantage? Because when you look at this, that is not an unfair advantage. Because both of his feet are still behind the guy. So even if my arm is there, I don't use my arm to score. I use my feet. I use my feet to run, and I use my feet to score. So the stupidity, the absurdity of the rule is, so because my shoulder is ahead of the last man, I have an unfair advantage? No. One of his entire feet is fully ahead of the last man. So he has a clear attacking advantage. Because of that foot is there, once that ball is played, he has a clear attacking advantage, specifically a clear running advantage, because that foot is clearly ahead of the other guy's feet. So boom, he is already like a fraction of a second ahead of him. That's unfair. That is unfair. So for me, I feel the one above, that is offside. And obviously the one below is clearly offside. If I'm Danish, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. I'm like, this is, guys, just look at this. Because you see, anybody who's played football, if you've played football and this gets called as offside, you're like, it's really ridiculous. You see, and this is the issue here I have. The people who make the rules don't play football. It's clear. If the people who made the rules played football, there is no way in hell they allow this to happen. It's impossible. Because if you played football, automatically like, oh no, this is not an unfair attacking advantage. No way. Heck no. It is ridiculous to call this as offside because he does not have an unfair attacking advantage. So my thing though is, why do we have these nerds, these suits, making these rules who you've not played? Watching football is not the same as playing football. Specifically, not only playing football. Playing football is one thing, which these guys don't do. Playing football at a high level. So my thing is, Seedorf, Van Basten, Pirlo. Well, I know George Weah is in politics now. Clivett. There are so many professionals who are retired, who are now doing dignitary jobs. Why aren't these guys consulted? Why aren't these guys consulted and say, yo, you guys have played at the very highest level. So I want to call Maldini. I want to call Cannavaro. I want to call Desailly. I want to call Van Basten. I want to call Shevchenko. I want to call Weah or Clivett. So strikers and defenders. It's not really about midfielders. This is really a striker thing and a defender thing. Guys, talk to me. What would make more sense of what an offside rule is? I will bet everything I own and more that they will come to a consensus and say, this right here, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it. To watch the rest of this vid and gain access to more content crack, think about becoming a Patreon member. Click the link below in the description box or head over to patreon.com/halfhope and gain access to more content crack. Let's ride.